The main operation system is the heart of the all operations in postal and parcel companies. Should we buy it or maybe we need to build it? Let's find out. Hello, today's episode is about main operation system of postal and parcel operators. The main question is buy or build. Christian, when I talk with my clients, I see two groups. One group are very satisfied from operation system, which covers everything from order processing, parcel processing, and any type of activities, including sales and subcontractors. On the other side, there are a lot of companies which say, "Oh, we need to build everything from the scratch. Nothing on the market, nothing from the shelf fits to our needs, fits to our processes." What do you think? The buy or build? What's the best way?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question because I think it depends very much on where you're coming from, and depends also what kind of situation. That I've been, as you know, in Postal, we are an old company, and that means that we had a lot of legacy, and I got the responsibility to re-engineer the IT backend once back in the days. I think that what we did as a decision was to figure out what is it that we have that we can use, and then otherwise, if you could find something on the market that you could use, a standard solution that would fit you, then that was the second alternative. And the third alternative was to build yourself. I think that it depends very much on where you are on your journey. If you're starting up with a more of a standardized product, I would say, why not go out and buy it because you haven't developed that. But the thing is that you will always tweak and turn your processes in order to fit the continuous change of our end consumers' convenience. Because we have to remember that they actually are changing, and they're changing from 2 points. They're changing because people are changing, that we are living in a different society, but also that we see that the big players like Amazon has actually, or the Chinese market, we see that we actually have players which are so big today that they actually can go in and change people preferences. So I think it's a very difficult question to say, go to for one or the other. I think it's something that you really need to look at. Also, have experienced that it's also very much driven by the CIO, what the CIO believes in. So it depends also where you come from. Where does the CEO come from? Is it what kind of industry are they coming from? And it's a really a good question with an answer, which I would say that goes very much into what you have and what your experiences are.
What I saw with my clients is that they were very satisfied from the operation system, which was built for them, but they found in the moment that first they are vendor lock. So there is one company which almost exclusively create this system for them, does everything what they want. So the system is perfect for them, very perfect fit for them. However, because this is one system, every new transaction, so every new parcel in the system creates a lot of additional transactions in the system. It means that one parcel means few transactions with operations, few transactions with order processing, few transactions with settlements, etc., etc. So when they approach to the peak season, for example, and the volume starts to be very high, they need to switch off functionalities just to survive because the one holistic whole system couldn't survive the huge increase of volume. And that was the problem. That was the problem of something which is integrated, even fit created for particular operator.
I uh, I would I would not put my eggs in a basket like that. I've seen too many cases of that as well, where you're dependent. Typically, sometimes you have organizations which are dependent on one person, and when that person retires, he can still make the system and being connected for the rest of his life in order to make sure that it can survive. I believe in modularity. I believe in that you should look into what kind of modules is it that we're working that you need to have. You need to have a master data part. You need to have maybe an API, ADI in order to receive your customers. You need to have a sorting system. You need to maybe to have some custom modules. You need to have maybe a last mile distribution model and even a separate optimization model. But I believe in the modularity because that something that you develop There are so many things happening on the market and so much with intelligence today with the AI capabilities and stuff like that, that you should be able to just, switch them out. You just take one module and then you put it another module in. I think that is the flexibility that I would have, that I would prefer, that you actually build them up like building blocks where you can change them if you find something that is better on the market, and just making sure that you connect with a very flexible way. That would be my recommendation. This is how we build up the boxes today in our organization, and we re-engineer them back. And then some of the modules are things that we have developed ourselves. Then we have a third party in who is maintaining that and doing that today. But other modules are more standardized that we can say. But it's a very good question, and you see, especially if you look into transport management system, especially for the old postal operators, we more or less have all of us systems which are home built, and they are 20, 30 years old in the baseline. And the problem is that we have built our processes so complex over time because we built the system to it, that there is no standard system from the market that can cover these things. So this is also another thing that we see in our industry.
But if you think about modules, we can still think about the two different approaches. One approach is to build from the different modules. So something which we built inside because it fits to our needs and our processes, something which we can buy from external, well-known, established company, and some modules which we can buy from startups, which give us some competitive advantage. But integration of them is the most painful issue. Another approach is to go to some platforms like SAP, like Microsoft Dynamics or Oracle, that you can add modules, but all these modules should be aligned with the platform, so we can just plug and unplug them. So this is also different approach. One gives you more flexibility, but more painful integration. Another thing gives you a lot of flexibility in how to plug in and plug off everything, but you are covering one of the platform. So
The thing is, Greg, the markets are changing quite fast right now. And you know that when you see what's happening over the last 5 years with different services, different things that comes into the market, that these standard modules, you will always try to differentiate yourself on the market, especially if the competition is hard. That means that you will define the way that you want to serve your end consumer. That means that you will have some needs of tweaks and turns in order to make sure that you actually, that you actually get the product out to the market that you want to have. Many times when you work standard things, you will end up in updating issues and stuff like that, which will be quite costly for you. That's my experience anyway.
So the conclusion is not there is no question buy or build. It's more question how you design the whole system as the modules, and all these modules can be flexible. You can build, you can buy, you can test innovations, but you will not, and the capacity of the whole system will be still enough. And
It's also a question
the right approach. Yeah.
Greg, it's also a question on where you come from. It really depends on what legacy you have already. That is one of the challenges.
Yeah, you mean that if you are old legacy company, the whole process of implementation, anything is very, very painful, yes? And especially to change anything is very painful. But anyway, you can, if you decided to change, because you have to, you can still think about this modular building of the whole operation system, and how to exchange the modules which has the less capacity or doesn't have functionality which you need, which serve your products.